Hi, Carol here, and a warm welcome to my craft room. Well, here is the Gelato second part card to the card I put out yesterday that I used the same embossing folder, the We Are Memory Keepers floral, amazing 3D embossing folder. It's beautiful, and this is on the Michaels black cardstock. It's 110, but it is the thickest cardstock ever. I used the Tim Holtz Distress tool to go around the edges, and we are going to proceed with making this beautiful card with our gelatos. I tell you what, I love gelatos, and I forget about them because I have them behind, in a cupboard. So I have to get them out so I can see them because they're fabulous. Now, I'm going to just share with you how I went about this, because you can stop at any point. You could do it just like this, spray mist it with water, heat set it, and your gelatos will stay put. Isn't that pretty right there? But I decided to do something a little different, and they won't get smudgy. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, he didn't even get any of his paws. I know. So here I grab kind of like a coral pink, and I'm going over the tops of all the flowers because with this embossing folder, the We Are Memory Keepers ones, they really are, they have a huge emboss on them. And here I'm just taking a baby wipe because I need to have something in the background. And I thought, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to get the nice straight lines going over it. And here you have it when it's dry. It's beautiful. Now you can go back and color with your gelatos. This is more of a cream orange color, almost like a fudge, creamsicle. It's not like a fudgicle because that would be brown, right? So I'm going over all of it. I've got the background dusted with the two-color tone with the green and the bright pink. And now I'll take this beautiful fudgicle color. I keep saying fudgicle. It's a creamsicle, Carol, a creamsicle. There it is, right there. And I'm going to go over the tops of this whole emboss. I love it. It is gorgeous. And when it's finished, it's even prettier. Yeah, to look at it there, you don't think it's much. But you can add as many colors to this as you want. Now, the card in the lower right-hand corner is that card I put up yesterday using the stair-step method with that floral, the Power Poppy floral that I have above this. This is a baby blue. It's such a dusty blue. It's so pretty. And like I said, you can go over it and over it until you're satisfied. And then I'm going to show you something that is amazing. It truly is. Gelatos have this chemical workout that they put together, so to speak. And when you mist it with water and you heat set it, it stays on there without smudging. And if you spray it with the mist, you can, and let me say this, it's so exciting, you can use embossing powder on it. You don't need to have Versamark. It will emboss right over top of these gelatos. I'm taking it finger to gelato right now. I'm going to sweep over the top because I want this kind of vintage look on here. And this is how easy peasy it is, my friends. Yes. And then we're going to use this rose stamp. You're going to love it. But I had to stop here and make Hunter an airplane. Every time I'm crafting, when I have my 4-year-old grandson, he always says, "Hey, Nan, can you take a piece of paper and make me an airplane?" So he plays with the airplane as I am creating. Isn't it cute? And so I said, "Sure, grab me a piece of paper, Hunter. I'll make you an airplane." And so that's what I'm doing. We all need to have an airplane, right? When we're crafting, and he's zooming it all around me, having a blast. Once I get this finished, I'm going to proceed adding some more color using the gelatos. And I think, it's such a nice medium. I mean, you can spray them, you can paint with them, you can do exactly what I'm doing with them, just rubbing over an emboss and then putting embossing powder on it, like a clear embossing powder, and heat setting it once you mist it. And now I'm trying to pick out all of the pretty little leaves. And this is kind of like a, Oh, it's such a soft, soft green teal. You can see it there. It's so pretty. I am going to put the names down on my blog if I think of it. I missed a few things on my card yesterday. I'll go back and place it on my blog. I noticed that. And I want to apologize for all the close-ups. I had too many close-ups on yesterday's tutorial. I'm very sorry. I wanted to get that up, and I wasn't watching the screen as I was sewing and as I was doing different things. So sorry about that. I was ever so mindful when I was doing this. Now you notice I misted it. I didn't put a direct spray, just a mist. Then I'm going to heat set it because that will make it so that it doesn't smear. Then I'm going to mist it again, and the gelato will pick up this clear embossing powder. Wait till you see how it picks it up. I did not use any Versamark style ink, just water. I put the mist over top of the gelato picked it up, the crayon, and it heat set. And I'm going to show you as I get out. Yeah, I'm going to zoom in. Now I'm intentionally zooming in for you to see how that mist picks up the embossing powder and heat sets it. It just embosses it. Look at how beautifully wet that looks with clear embossing powder right over top of gelato and water. That is amazing. And I'm telling you, does not smear. Even the underneath part grabbed hold of some of the embossing powder. So this is truly one beautiful embossing folder. Sorry about that, folder. Yes. I wanted to show you yesterday's card. I was going to do it on top of this actual technique. But as you can see, I would have covered up way too much of that folder, that embossed image of the flowers. Even if I skipped one and went on to the next stair step, so to speak, it would have totally eliminated the look of that embossing folder. But I did want to keep it in the edit here to just show you. That would have looked fine, the just for you. And then remember on the other card yesterday, I put the vellum underneath. And it was really pretty. So yeah, that was nice, wasn't it? So here I'm going to add my layers. I always look at the colors that are in the actual project. Of course, we all do that, right? I wanted to have the green, that pretty kind of a moss green. So I cut it down and I distress all the edges to this. It's 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 inch square. And it is a all the colors that I put in with the gelatos blend themselves to cardstock that I had in my stash. Then I grabbed this nice pink purple. It's so pretty, isn't it? It's like a mauve. Very nice cardstock. And then, like I said before, I will distress all of the edges, and then it is going on a black card base. So there's that. Then I'm going to have to, remember I said yesterday in that tutorial, I was working on 3 cards at the same time. So yeah, I was coming and going here. That red cardstock is just to keep the glare off of that glass mat. So here's the LDRS Creative die. I always talk about this falling lace die. I'll leave it on my blog. I think this is a necessity for anybody's stash to have it on hand. And I kept this in the tutorial to show you with this one die how pretty you could make this beautiful embossed card with this We Are Memory Keepers embossing floral folder, and add every color to the outside edge. Isn't that pretty? I mean, so much you can do with this one technique using your gelato and an embossing folder. Then I thought it would be nice to have them falling from the middle. If I ghosted all of the actual die cuts on top of one another, you could run them along the bottom. I was thinking of doing all the edges, or put it right in the middle, right straight across with a ribbon going through the holes. yeah, I wanted to share because that's a nice technique to have if you have this LDRS Creative die. Now we're going to work with this beautiful Impression Obsession stamp. This full 6x6 stamp is beautiful, and it's all roses. I have used this in the past. I've had it for a couple of years, and I thought it would lend itself to the inside portion of this card. I took that real lilac colored cardstock, it's Stampin' Up! Cardstock, nice and thick, and I'm making my card base. Instead of having the card base black or having it white, I decided to grab a color. I don't do that very often. I generally have the white or the black as a base, but I thought this would be very pretty. And I am experimenting here with you as I take out this 6x6 Impression Obsession rose stamp, and I love it because it is deeply etched. Those rubber stamps are beautiful. You get such a crisp, clear image with rubber that's unlike using a clear stamp. You know, rubber is the way to go if it's a large, you know, if you're using rubber on small images, you need to have a Stamp-A-Ma-Jig or something, you know, especially if it's a rubber sentiment or something you want to put somewhere. But as far as the background is beautiful. So here I go. I'm making my opening, you know, my cover, my base for the card in this gorgeous color, this deep, deep lilac color. And I'll go up the side. I generally leave about an inch at the top. I grab my scoreboard, and I always have a gusset. So I will make 2 lines because the card is thick, and I am going to put a white cardstock on the inside. So I need to have some room to move around with added cardstock. So just take your scoring tool and your scoreboard and score 2 or 3 lines, you know, however thick you want your gusset. You know, if you're putting a lot of images on the inside, just add an extra score mark. So I'll show you that once I get going. I think it's 3/4 of an inch that I use here. And then I move it over 1, and I'm making 2 lines. I don't make 3 here. I just make 2 lines for the gusset, as you can see. I do the 3/4 mark, back it up 1, and now I have enough room. I will put my double-sided tape. I got this double-sided tape at Walmart. It's $1.15, I think. And it comes in 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch. So it's very affordable at our Walmart. And there you have it. You know, it's even less than at my dollar store where nothing's $1. Yeah, this is Walmart. So fold your gusset. Then keep that page right there, you know, the one that we're going to put the tape on. Keep it at the gusset mark that's at the bottom. You want to make sure the bottom edge, and then fold it over, right? Because you're going to need that gusset mark. You see the fold there. And then work it, and if you put it on there right, the bottom's going to be straight edged right all the way across. And I'm not going to score it. I don't want those folds or any cracks in it. I'm just going to fold it with my hands, and it looks very pretty. Isn't that nice? It just has a look all of its own with Gelatos on black. Very pretty. And now I'm going to work the Gelatos on white cardstock for you. It's my 140-pound white. It isn't, I didn't use watercolor paper. I'm using my 1/2 inch ATG gun because I love the stickiness of this. It's going nowhere. An ATG gun is the best for stickiness. I really like it. So if you're not using, it's quicker than double-sided tape, let's say that. I wanted to add some pretty to this, so I grabbed some white seam binding ribbon, and because I had the ATG tape on the back, it secured this. I wanted to have a nice white bow off to the right-hand side of this card, and I wanted to use the white to accentuate the vellum that I have just for you on the clear sentiment. that's on top of the vellum cutout, and I tie it in a nice crisp bow and cut it off right there. I actually had to grab some sharp scissors. These are my Martha Stewart scissors. I seldom use them, so I always know they're sharp. You really should have scissors just for doing cardstock or ribbon material, you know. But isn't that pretty? So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, come on, let's go. Let's grab that Impression Obsession roses and let's just start with those gelatos. Gelatos are wonderful because you just grab that stick. It's just like having a lipstick or chapstick and go crazy. I wanted to have the same colors that are in the front portion of the black cardstock, so I added they're basically the same colors. So I have the nice mint green going down first. And if you have any colored gelatos, you're going to love this technique. And you're going to see why. I grabbed this really beautiful fuchsia and I put that on there. And then I'm thinking, okay, what next? And I go to a light pink. I add that on there and you can just clean it off. I'm adding the mauve onto the roses. Wait till you see how beautiful this looks. This is the mauve, and then I want to go to a deeper purple, like the edging, you know, of the card, you know, my card base is that beautiful purple that you see off to the right there, the cardstock. So I'm basically going around because I know I'm going to spray it with water. And then I want to do the outside because this is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. So I need to have an edge on it. So like I said, I grabbed the same colors, that beautiful creamsicle color, the mint green, the pinks, and then I rub it with my hand, but I end up grabbing a paper towel to really, when I put the purple on there, I needed to just, purple. I love it. I needed to look how creamy that is. You can tell just swiping it how creamy that is. So I grabbed a piece of paper towel and I misted it with water, and I put my water in the center of the card. I don't want it all over the place. I will move the water out. So I spritzed it on the cardstock itself. There's my purple going over. I'm going to add the water to it, turn it over, and just let it seep down into the card base. This is 140-pound white cardstock. Look at that. I could have got a brayer, but no, look at first generation right there. Is that not gorgeous? I quickly grabbed another sheet, sprayed it with water. You can see, turn it around and let it all seep down. This is second generation now, my friends. Gorgeous. Just flip it over. That's the beauty of a 6x6 stamp. And look. Oh, keep going. Spritz it and grab some black cardstock. Third generation. Woo! Is this fun or what? This is one 6x6 stamp. There you have it. Look at that. Now, quickly while it's wet, I want gold. You know, I add gold to everything. Just slap that gold on there while it's wet. Take it off, pour it back into your little container, and then set it aside. You want to get all of the water that you put on there. Look at that. There's no Versamark on here, my friends. Yep, it's raining gold. Now get some clear embossing powder and get it quickly on this one while it's wet. We already sprayed it. We did the first generation stamping here. So spray that and then clear embossing powder on the second generation piece. And look at it stick. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. And then it will hold that color of the gelato so it doesn't move, and you're going to have a beautiful card. Backdrop, focal point, whatever you want. Look at that. First, second, third generation. And I'm going to show you up close how beautiful this is when you take that heat tool to it. Gorgeous. Now I'm going to heat set all of that embossing powder that stuck to the gelato and the water. So, and remember, it's a mist. Put your spray sprayer, the water sprayer you have on the mist one. You don't want to have big globs of water on here. So I'm going to move it up so you can see how beautiful this is. That gelato crayon grabs that embossing powder once you put the spray water on top, and you can't get anything prettier than taking your finger, going around the edges, and then just turn it over, give it some heat to get that. Oh, look at that. I went back and I slowed the process up for you so you could see just how beautiful it is to add clear embossing powder to the gelato and then mist it with the water. And this is the second generation now. This isn't the first time we stamped it. It is the second time we brought that beautiful Impression Obsession 6x6 stamp over to the cardstock. And if you wanted to, you could use your watercolor paper. That would be awesome. But I didn't want to have any ridges on it from watercolor paper. So I grabbed my 140-pound cardstock, and look at that. This is going to make a beautiful, beautiful background. Actually, this would make a beautiful, beautiful front of a card. Look at that. First, this is second generation. Now let's go to the third, where we put, instead of the clear embossing powder, we went gold. Whoa, that is beautiful. And let me see, this is the gold powder here is just, it's from Michael's, the Recollection Gold. It's just called gold, 6-ounce bottle of it. And yes, I love it. Look at that gold. And the gelato just sucks up that embossing powder with the water. I don't know, but I have been doing this forever. Since I've been working with gelatos, I have put embossing powder over top. You can do, if you're doing the white cardstock, you could pour all of your colored embossing powders all over. You know, mix it up. Put a little bit of this, then heat set it, then put another color, heat set it. Absolutely stunning. That way you would have it nice and shiny, just like you put glossy accents on it. But you didn't. I have a piece that I'll try to remember to put on there. I did a layout that looks so similar to this black image. Yeah, I have it hanging in my craft room. I really like it. And yeah, I'll try to find it. It's one of my earlier tutorials, so you'll have to bear with me. I'll put it up and then you can look at the process of it. But I didn't know how to edit back then. But anyway, it's a nice project if you like to do layouts. It has a lot of ideas even to put into cards. So I'm cutting it down just, I think it's easier to see how beautiful it turned out if you cut it back. And you can just see the actual technique. So you have the one, then you have the second generation, and now the black is the third stamping without adding any more gelato. Any more gelato. That's how beautifully the color in that, you know, is beautiful. And here you have it. It's the hottest day in Ontario we have had today with the humidity. It's crazy. So that's why I had to add snow. I have to think cold, even though I'm in the AC. It's nice and cold. That's why I put my beautiful birds in the snow at the beginning of my tutorial. Because if you're living in Ontario, it's a hot one out there, my friends. So here you have it. Now let's go. We're going to have to do the inside of this card. So that's what I'm working on here. Find that old distress tool, Carol. I found it. I'm going to distress the edges. I love the way that really cream colored gelato looks at the top. I mark my cardstock and then I just grab my cutting tool, whatever I'm using. And one thing I like to do when I'm using the Tim Holtz is I like to do little cuts. I don't do all at once because if your cardstock is thick, it's going to grab it. You're not going to get a good straight cut. If you just pounce it now and again, it'll cut it beautifully. Then I went to my stash, okay? I had all of this leftover stuff in a bowl, and I found this butterfly and this bird that I had in a bowl. And instead of making it, I thought, this is fantastic. I'm going to put that on the inside of this layer. I'm going to put that down with my 1/2-inch A2G gun because it's sticky, sticky, sticky. And this is where you can kind of go crazy getting rid of all your little stash stuff, adding it as embellishments. I just loved it, and that was a really nice color. It didn't quite match, so I got out my Copics right there, and I added 2 of the same colors, the violet and the pink, onto this. It's a 2-section butterfly, and then it has these pearls down the center of the body, and I'll show you what I do once I see those pearls. You have to add it to the front of the card, right? So kind of the front and the back kind of, you know, all combined together in one fantastic look. And don't you love the gelatos? And if you really look at it, you can see where you, oh yeah, butterfly. Oh, everything's coming up color. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Pretty's my word this week, remember? Yes. And thank you for your beautiful comments yesterday. I so appreciated them. And here we go. Zoom it in now. This is purposeful zooming. And tell me that doesn't match. Perfect. Once I added, you know, the gelato colors and the Copics just went together. I had this little leaf that matched the leaves in the embossing folder in my stash. So I grabbed some glue dots, Stampin' Up! Glue dots, put them behind my ribbon. I had this little bird punch. It's a Stampin' Up! Punch. And see, it was all these little doodads I have in my stash. I had that little gray and white flower, ceramic flowered rose. Can't get any sweeter than that. Doesn't that look like I made it for this card? I put the wing on there. That was in my stash. I'm adding some more glue dots to the back. Then I take for the little eyeball. I took a pen, but then I went back and I added the enamel accents and made a nice eyeball that had a little bit of 3-dimension in it. I took this ceramic rose, and all you have to do is have one of those sticky glue dots from Stampin' Up! On the back. I put it right on top of there because it will adhere to that ribbon. And in my stash, oh yes, I'm going to put glossy accents on the wing and on a few of the branches just to offset the embossing clear powder on the embossing folder with the gelatos. All kind of works together, you know. And that's the beauty of using up some of your stash in there. I have a bowl and I seem to just put odds and ends in it. And then if I'm making a card, if I think of it, I get it out. So here's some larger pearls that I had. So I add 3 in odd numbers. I took a gray Copic. I used the T7 actually, and I went over it. I think it's the T7. It's a darker gray. I went over the 2 outside pearls so it matched the ceramic rose. I went back to slow this down. I went to a normal speed. I want you to see how pretty this is with that first generation Impression Obsession rose stamp. That 6x6 beautiful rubber stamp, background stamp. And then you have the little bird punch from Stampin' Up! It has the wing, the little bird. Now I'll go back and I'll add, and that branch is in the same punch too. So I want to secure the vellum down just to be sure when I mail this out to somebody. And there you have it, just really nice. And then I added underneath the pearls so that the ribbon doesn't move, and I can kind of straighten it up there by putting my finger on the middle pearl. And there you have it, my friends. I just think this is a real pretty card. It's quick, it's easy, it uses up your products, and gelatos. Let's get our gelatos out and use them. Isn't that nice? Now, the only thing I had left to do was to put my stamp on there, created especially for you by Carol Held. And that's because I mailed them out to subscribers that I pick. If you leave a comment, I will generally, when I get time to mail things out, I will email you. So I stamped it on my 40-pound Stampin' Up! Vellum, and I put clear embossing powder on it so I didn't get any smudges. when you heat set this vellum, just take your heat tool off and on again, off and on. Otherwise, you're gonna have ripples in your vellum, and you don't want that. Then I took the Stampin' Up! Heart Punch. I will cut a square out of this so I can get there, created especially for you by Carol Held. And we're going to put that on the inside of this really sweet card using our gelatos. Yes, a whole gelato card there. I'm going to cut that out, I'm going to punch it out, and it's going to go right down by the butterfly. Instead of putting the stamp on the back, I thought it would look pretty on the inside. Well, I hope you were inspired to use your gelatos on the next card with your embossing folders, and give your rubber stamps a try with the gelato. You're going to love it. So have a blessed week. Thank you to all my subscribers, to my new subscribers as well, and thank you for your comments. They really do make my day. So I will see you on the next tutorial. Take care, everybody.